Good evening, I'm John Owen. This is the Lubec Area Monthly Arts Calendar for June 2012, brought to you by S.A.I.L, supporting the arts in Lubec. And this is a program which will be airing every month. This month we have 2 art exhibits to talk about and a number of performances. Every summer down at the Mulholland Market Gallery on Water Street you'll see a series of exhibits by local artists, and this summer is no different. And the first exhibit this month is S.A.I.L, and her exhibit will be down there until June 19th. And you have a theme for your exhibit this time.
I do. The show is called Raised, and I have a ceramic installation sculpture by that title that commemorates the lost factory industry here in Lubec. And it's basically a 7-foot sculpture with about roughly 300 handmade ceramic shingles that were textured or imprinted with actual authentic factory shingles from here in Lubec. So that is on exhibit, as well as some carved pottery pieces that have a herring theme to work with a smokehouse theme.
Right.
And then some of my weaving. And
now, how did you happen to think about the factory theme? How did with this installation?
Well, when Lubec Landmarks asked me to do a show, I did want to do something that sort of worked with the area, the history, and their mission,
right,
which is restoring the smokehouses. So last fall I started thinking about different ideas between the sardine canning. I do have an interest in factories and have used factories in my artwork before, so I kind of naturally moved toward the factories. And I do have an affinity for buildings and architecture, so I tried to find one sort of common denominator between the factories, which was often cedar shingles, which I see a lot of around here.
You do.
And from what I understand, Jennifer Moltop had told me that a lot of the shingles had been made right locally in Whiting, and so I wanted to narrow in on one sort of little piece that I could repeat over and over, which is what I do in a lot of my sculpture, repeating images.
And now we have a series of slides representing pieces that are going to be at the gallery. And if you'll just tell us a little bit about each one.
Sure.
All right, now here we have a few slides. These are the slides you sent that these are all going to be at your exhibit, is that right?
Yes.
Well, maybe you could just tell us a little bit about each one then.
These are my column vessels, and these were inspired by the shingles. I used the same shingles that I used for Raised to create texture on slabs of clay, and created vessels ranging from probably 6 inches to 16 inches tall. And I see the column as a support for buildings architecturally, but also symbolically thinking of the factories that for so long were financial support for the families and their, for so many years, financially here. So this is the installation sculpture Raised, and the young man who is assembling the last few shingles is Ethan Serrato. He's a 7th grader here in Lubec, one of my art students, and he happened to be walking by the gallery and offered to come in and help out. I've done what I call the collector's series of herring pottery, and specifically for the smokehouse exhibit, and I'll do a limited number of herring images on my thrown pieces, and this is a platter that I have carved. And also in the herring collector series I have made a few mugs. My personal favorites are the weirs and the sardine can. The shot from the installation exhibit showing again the sculpture Raised, and in the background some of my woven masks and a tapestry. Royanne Mosley was my right-hand woman during the installation. It took us about 9 hours to put this together. As you can see on the floor there, we broke a few shingles getting started. It took a little bit getting used to working with a fragile material. It's not like working with actual cedar shingles. One item that I make a lot of in my functional pottery are sake sets, and this is a hand-carved sake set with 4 cups with a weir and a herring theme. This is a close-up of Royanne attaching one of the ceramic shingles to the column.
Also this month at the Mulholland Market Gallery is Joanne Mosley. She'll be having an art exhibit. And what are the dates for the exhibit?
The dates will be June 21st until July 4th. Actually, I think the show's going to have to come down on the 3rd, but at the end of the day on the 3rd.
Now this is a mixed media exhibit. You're strictly painting? Or?
No, I've actually got acrylic paintings, and I have a few pastels, and I'll have a lot of my recent recycled glass works. I have both sculptures and windows.
Now the glass you started just a few years ago, isn't that right?
I started working with sea glass initially, about I'd say 6 years ago, because I had tubs and tubs of sea glass that I've been collecting over the years. And I had a whole bunch of old windows, vintage windows that I've been dragging around in all my houses from all my previous houses. So I decided to just try putting them together. And that led to three pieces that were made with just sea glass. And then I got bored with the sea glass that you find mostly around here is white, green, and amber.
Yeah.
Beer bottles, wine bottles, and white bottles. So that was boring after a while. So now I go to tag sales and flea markets, and I buy old vintage pieces of glass, colored glass, and I break them up and tumble them. So now they're a little brighter, a little cheerier.
And the paintings, I know I've seen an exhibit of yours before. They're quite colorful, and you've been all over the place.
Yes. Well, color is a big part of my art. I call myself a colorist. It's very important to me. And I do a lot of pushing color to the extreme. Impressionistic kind of color.
Thank you, Royanne.
Thank you.
And I will now allow you to go in and get some food.
Thank you.
I've been working. The car rocks. It really rocks. It's about 135 pounds. Well, I have to get out. Back to Eastport.
Right now, Fred Pierce of Cobscook Bay Music will bring you up to date on some more events.
Well, thank you, John. We have quite a few musical events coming up in June, starting with June 15th, the third Friday Coffee House at Cobscook Community Learning Center. The Coffee House starts off with an open mic at 7 p.m. and musicians of all stripes are welcome to come out and perform and get the audience warmed up. This month's featured performer is Celia Jellison. She's a Washington County favorite, and her repertoire includes folk, country, rock, blues, you name it. She plays it all. I have a couple of clips coming up from her previous performance at the open mic, and that's another reason to come out and play at the open mic too, because you can often end up as being the featured performer. Refreshments are served and they're available from local nonprofits, and local nonprofits are welcome to contact the CCLC about participating at the coffee house.
Rain upon the waters makes footprints sunk in the sand. Anger upon angry birds, it take me by the hand, take me by the heartstrings, and pull me deep inside and say I'm one with your forgiveness is separate from my pride. I don't know what it's like for you, but here's what it's like for me. I wanted to turn beautiful, serve eternity, and never follow money or love with greasy hands, or move the earth and waters just to make it fit my plans. My eyes would be the harbor, my words a perfect place for a girl on a road.